as of last night, you may be aware that the president of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, put up a statement informing the nation to say the end of the national mourning in honor of late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, who had passed on 5th June. So Real Times reports there the end. Hakainde Hichilema indefinitely cancels late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu's national mourning period. So the press brief that came from the head of state, Hakainde Hichilema, was around 19 hours, and pretty much was advising the nation to say, since there is a standoff between government and the Lungu family, the country cannot be in a perpetual period of mourning. And then some news also started circulating online. Some media house put up a news item stating to say South African government was intending on kicking out the Lungu family from South Africa, to which the Department of International Relations in South Africa responded immediately. So they said, be advised that it is not true that the South African government has made a determination on such a matter. This issue has to be resolved by the family and the Zambian government. So simply the South African government was saying they had not done anything of that sort with regard to deporting the people that are in the Zambian people that are in South Africa with regard relating to this funeral. So they responded immediately to that. But some of the highlights from the press brief that the head of state put across was that he put up an apology to South Africa to say, because of the inconvenience that had happened, if you are aware, South African defense was ready to honor late Edgar Chagwa Lungu as he was supposed to be repatriated to Zambia. But as you may be aware, that did happen. And then Emmanuel Mwamba asks a question to say, Zambia's 60th president, the late Edgar Chagwa Lungu, will be put to rest in Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema. So he simply quotes the sitting president, Hakainde Hichilema. If you remember when Zimbabwe sent through their vice president, who came to have a talk with the Zambian government with regard to the issue at hand, the Republican president Hakainde Hichilema communicated with them to say our former late president Edgar Chagwa Lungu was not going to be put to rest anywhere else apart from Zambia. And now people are having a conversation to say, is this grave going to be buried? What happens to it? Because as you may be aware, government had already put in place works at Embassy Park where the remains of Edgar Chagwa Lungu were supposed to be put to rest. So now the question is, what happens to this grave? Is it going to be buried or preserved? I'll show you the question as people keep on asking as the broadcast goes on. So the Minister of Information and Media simply quoted the president there. By end of today, mourning period will be officially over. So that's one of the statements that came from the head of state from the press brief of last night, to which Fred Membe was just like, we are still processing yesterday's Fukushi for 19 hours. So simply saying he's yet to give a statement with regard to the press brief that was given by the head of state. And then immediately after the press brief by the president, these were the pictures that were coming from Belvedere Lodge. This was the official mourning place designated by government. You can see it was deserted. People had already started leaving. So the UPND simply asked, say, who packed a book of condolences, Mwevantu? So that was a response there. And then the Patriotic Front were like, UPND cadres have vacated the Belvedere Lodge after having their last supper. So there was this back and forth between the Patriotic Front and the UPND with regard to that. And then the UPND also responded to say, Abuju, at 24 hours, both Belvedere and Kujakwi side should be empty. Malilo ended by 19 hours. So simply saying, regardless whether it's Belvedere or the PF Secretariat, at 19 hours, based off the media statement that the head of state had put across, both places were supposed to be vacant. And immediately the Patriotic Front premises, also the Secretariat, were also being vacated. But the PF put up this statement, say, Acting President Honorable Gideon Lubinda has advised mourners at the party secretariat to disperse after information reached the leadership that they were to be forcefully and violently be removed by police. So the justification that the Patriotic Front say why they had vacated their secretariat was that they had got some intel that the police were about to be sent to them by 24 hours. So that's why Gideon Lubinda advised them to move. The UPND responded, "We have reached home from Lusaka na Mendo." So that back and forth between UPND and PF continued for a while. UPND was like, after 24 hours, it becomes unlawful assembly, referring to if the PF had decided to continue their mourning at the secretariat there. And the UPND, that was quick. Even Belvedere has demobilized. No free music. So simply saying the demobilization both at the PF Secretariat and the Belvedere Lodge was synonymous, like everything happened at the same time. But the South African government has put up a statement. This is what the head of state had said to South Africa, saying, "We extend our sincere apologies to President Ramaphosa and the people of South Africa for yesterday's unfortunate situation in the HM." This is according to the Minister of Information and Media there. And today, these are the scenes coming from South Africa. This was just posted like 25 minutes ago by the Lungu family, the ones that are in South Africa. So they met up with the South African government. A minister was sent to them, Minister of what we would refer to here as Minister of Foreign Affairs. But anyway, let me just read you the statement of what happened. So the man that you see in blue there, that's a minister from South Africa there who went to see former First Lady Esther Lungu. So this is a statement, press statement from the Lungu, Edgar Chagwa Lungu family for immediate release. On behalf of the Lungu family, we wish to announce that the funeral and burial of our beloved Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu will take place in South Africa in accordance with the family's wishes in a private ceremony. This period has been deeply emotional for the family, and we are grateful for their overwhelming support and condolences extended to the family from across the continent and the globe. We would especially like to extend our sincere appreciation to the government of the Republic of South Africa for their respectful support for honoring the family's decision to hold a private funeral and burial here in South Africa. Your non-interference and respect for the South African constitution and rights of the family and the desire of the family is commendable, and we will give space to mourn and celebrate the life of our beloved Edgar Chagwa Lungu in dignity and peace. The visit of Honorable Minister of International Relations, so that's the same minister that put up the earlier statement. The visit from the Honorable Minister of International Relations, Mr. Ronald Lamola, was heartwarming, and when he came to convey the message of condolences on behalf of Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, the Lungu family continues to seek peace and unity among its fellow Zambians during this time, and thanks all friends, supporters, and members of the public for their understanding and compassion and willingness to mourn the former head of state who, as it has been resolved by the family, will be buried here in Johannesburg, South Africa at a private funeral. Further details regarding the funeral arrangements and burial will be shared to the Zambian and South African public in due course. Issued by Honorable Makebi Zulu, family spokesperson, date 20th June 2025. So that's a statement coming from South Africa, Johannesburg there. It seems like the South African government has given them permission to hold that that burial there. So other details are going to be communicated. Since they say it's a private funeral, I'm pretty sure there might be some sort of invited guests, because maybe other former heads of state might want to be in attendance. So those are the images when the Minister of pretty much like Foreign Affairs went to visit Mama Esther Lungu there with his delegation. And there he signed on in the book of condolences, pretty much conveying his message from President Ramaphosa to the Lungu family there. And those are images from Johannesburg. And then he meets up with the immediate elder sister of Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the lady with a blue fleece there, you see. And then with his delegation, you can see Makebi Zulu on the far right there. And then this was the interaction between former First Lady Esther Lungu and him. That was the time he was signing the book of condolences and meets up with the rest of the family that is in South Africa. And then obviously Makebi Zulu escorts him out. And then you can see Edgar Lungu's son-in-law, the one that is married to Tasila Lungu, in the back there in a blue jacket of some sort. And then the mass newspaper government shuns US Day. According to the New Dawn, officials failed to show up at the United States National Day. That's according to the mass newspaper there. Family demands justice for South civilian murder. That's some of the news headlines. The news diggers says it's over. We can't afford indefinite mourning. Hakainde Chilema. Edgar Chagalungu National Mourning cancelled. That's in the Daily Nation. But on the other hand, the Patriotic Front has been hit with another funeral following the demise of Joyce Kapata, mother to former Lands Minister Honorable Jean Kapata, in the early hours of today. So, as you may be aware, Jean Kapata was actually in South Africa when the family was giving out that statement where they were saying they are not flying back to Zambia. She was part of that delegation that was in that press brief when Makebi Zulu addressed the nation after Edgar Chagalungu's sister. She was there. So it seems like her mother passed on and she's back in the country since then. So that's the new funeral that has hit the Patriotic Front, which given the way that was at hand, this was him being received at that funeral.